Welcome back everyone to the Football Analytics and Rant Show. Today we have a special episode and it is about our college team, and I'm your host Jithu, and joining me as always is Elijah, and roll intro. So today we will not be talking about European football or not even our Indian domestic football. We'll be talking about something which is, I think, most of you listening will not even know, or I don't know if you'll care about also, but yeah, it's a little big for us. So today we're going to talk about the CMC, like Christian Medical College football team, which I am also a part of. Not big deal, but still, so what happened was our team recently, after a long, almost 5 years, since 5 years, we won a trophy, and it was a big deal. I think I've never seen a crowd this much there to watch a college game. I was genuinely surprised. And the amount of emotions that were released at that time, a lot of people were crying. And so I would like to just take you through a small journey of how we reached at this point and how the CMC football team was 5 years back, and all the incidents that happened in between. So it's a tribute to all my teammates, all my seniors, everybody involved in and around with the football team. And this is for you guys. So we start, I guess, in 2019. So that is basically when I joined the college, and I wasn't aware of the football team as such. I knew we had a ground. I didn't know, usually in my mind, since we are a medical college, sports and all will not be given that much importance, and people may be they might be playing sports as time pass or just for fun. That's what I thought. But then I think my first time, I'm not sure who exactly called me, but then one of my seniors, I do not remember exactly because there are multiple people, so I don't want to mention names right now. One of my seniors, he was at least 3-4 years senior to me, had asked me to come for practice, because when I met him before, I told him I used to play football in school. I'm not a huge great player and all. I was a keeper. So he's come for practice, whoever it is, we'll see. So I just went there, and first day I went there, actually I was genuinely surprised, because I saw at least close to 25 people there for practice, which I did not expect. 25 people, I think it was close to 30 than 25, because after we started doing small passing drills and things like that, when we started to split teams, there were actually 10 people who couldn't play. There were 5 substitutions each side. Mostly they were freshers like me only, and I didn't get to play much in the beginning, early times, because to be honest, the competition level at that time was quite big. I'm not telling it's less this time, but it was very harder. Even if you're talented or extremely talented, in the beginning, they'll make you sit behind, without playing. Half the time you'll be collecting balls and throwing back, and they'll make you do that for some time until they start trusting you and allowing you to come as a substitute. And especially it was difficult for me, because there were 2 other keepers ahead of me who were going to play. And in the beginning, so I went for maybe 1 month, after which I was unable to go. So what happened was, that year I think we had our home football tournament, which was Pegasus 2019. That was immediately maybe 1 or 2 months after I joined. I don't remember the exact date. So I was not part of that setup, but then I did go and watch the games to see how it was, because a lot of familiar people and even some of my batchmates were also there. If I want to mention name, Wallam, Sadi, Bun, all these guys were there. So I did go to watch the games, some of it, at least the knockout part. And that team was very good. I mean, it had like seasoned, like veterans of this squad, like a lot of super seniors. It was actually their last tournament for most of these people. So it was an end of a generation, and then that was exactly the time we joined in. So it was like a proper, it was going to be a transition phase, and this was like the last great team they'll have. I mean, they played well, like they reached the final authoritatively. I'm telling the A team. B team also played quite decently. I'm more focusing on the A team, until they had a final with a very familiar opponent. I think if anybody in part of the CMC football team knows who I'm talking about GVMC under the NS. So I'm not undermining them or cutting them down by any measure, but our team was actually much better than their team, and on paper, at least on individual talent wise, we were supposed to beat them. But then unfortunate scenario happened, and we lost the game. So I think that was like after that I met a couple of my seniors, batchmates and all. They were actually very like destroyed in the sense, like they didn't expect to lose it like that, and some of them told that they're going to stop playing. A lot of things happened there.
To be fair, we think that we are better than them because we see them daily. For GVMC, according to them, we could just be like, those guys, and according to them, they were better. So, yeah.
I mean, like, you can't blame them also. Like, every time we'll play friendlies with them. So this team is the team which we meet at least per year. We play them at least like 10 times minimum. So before that, all the friendlies and all, we were actually whooping them. It's not even 3-0, 4-0, stuff like that. So I think that would have gotten in the head. I think maybe they would have taken them lightly. I don't know exactly what happened with the players. It's just from an outside perspective what I saw. So after that, what happened was like I started, like a lot of these seniors, they finished their course, so they were actually not eligible to represent. So they started putting more of the junior batches inside, trying to get good talents or asking us to come for practice. So that is when we had an only AHS tournament, like it was AHS as an Allied Health Science tournament. It was in Ramachandra in Chennai. So the practice for this started. That is when I started going like daily for proper practice. We used to go around, I don't know if people nowadays don't even know. Earlier we used to go at practice like 5 o'clock sharp because we didn't have floodlights, and it will only be visible and properly till 6:30. So if we go early, we can get time to play. Otherwise, we'll have to play in the darkness.
You have to put this into context. Not all college grounds have floodlights. We recently got floodlights, I think maybe 1 year back. And how should I say this? We finish college by 4:30, and when we say we finish work by 4:30 or studies by 4:30, it's not that we leave department by 4:30. 4:30 is when our work finishes, when 4:30 is when our classes finish. So by the time you leave the place, you get on the bus, come back to the campus where we stay, it's roughly 5:15, and practice used to always start by 5:30. That was standard. So you would have to work from 8 in the morning, for which you will have to leave at 7:30, sometimes 7:15, sometimes 7. People who have different shift systems have to go even earlier, maybe have to work through the night, whatever it is. But 5:30 is the practice. So it really was a big task, and me being a lazy person like I was, I never went for practices. Like I would only go when it was convenient for me. But there were quite a lot of dedicated people who always go on time. Now back to your points.
Yeah, so I mean, that was the time I think we started like proper practice sessions. Like at least I went for when I went. So before going there, I was actually we had like other events in campus and also I couldn't go for practice. So after those such events finished, and after I think it was close to Jan 2020 maybe, That time, guy approached me out of nowhere. Like I was coming from class in the afternoon, and there's this like tall guy, like this tall lean guy. You won't even know like when he was dressed. I didn't even realize that he was he didn't even look like a footballer to me. He was tall. There was this like extremely tall guy. I don't know if I'm repeating myself. So he came to me, and he looked like very formally dressed, wearing like very neat pant and shirt inserted properly, wearing shoe, and he just said, "Your name is Jithu, right?" I'm like, "Yes," and I never seen him before. You play football, no? Yes, I am a goalkeeper. Yes. Can you come for football practice? Okay, fine. I told yes. I don't know if he was a senior, he was a junior. I don't know anybody. I just then he told my name is Vinay. I am the football captain.
Oh, Vinay.
Yes. Yeah, that's how I started properly coming for practice. And I was telling earlier, Ramachandra's practice was going on. And that time around 5 o'clock he'll come there. There will be at least close to 20 people there at least, because I'm not telling wrong about people, but there are people sometimes who used to show up just to get leave.
Me. Don't talk about some people. Me.
Yeah, so that's why you'll have especially close to tournament. 1 month before tournament. So you need to have some official practices, and based on the number of days you show up, and also obviously how you play, they pick the squad. So there were a lot of people who were like that and who actually wanted to win or play. There were people like that. So that's when I started seeing people properly, people from medics, medic side, AHS side, lot of people. I got to know people. Other than whoever is in my hostel, and whoever was in our hostel, I got to know them better, because every time you go there you will talk something relative, you will talk there. You're seeing these people daily. It was different. It is quite different from what I had in my class. So we started practicing. It was going well. At that time I think I was the only keeper there, so that's why they called me for practice from AHS side, I think so, because I think the previous whoever was there, I think it was Milan. So they finished their course, and once you finish, you are not eligible. At least I think staff are not eligible at that time.
Legally, no, but if you cheat like some people do, yes.
Yeah. So I think you understand the context there. So it's up to the viewers to decide. Yeah. So we had around 1 month practice, which actually was very good. In my school back then, I wasn't a great football player. I was mainly in the team because I had reflexes. Don't look at me now. Now my body is halfly worn down, gone. During school time, so I was I started taking up playing football very late. I think I was 12 years old or maybe. So because in my place it was mostly focused on cricket. All of us used to play cricket half the time. So that. So somebody saw me fielding or something, and they're okay, you can do some saves and all. I was diving very well. So that's how I got into the team. So my footwork is very bad. It is still not that good also, but I can my diving is very good, reflexes were very good, and the fact that we used to play in 7's ground. So if you don't know, 7's ground is much smaller, slightly more bigger than futsal turf, but it's smaller than 11's ground. So in that, I think you don't have to take long goal kicks, so it was not that necessary. So I was able to adjust that. But when I came here, it was difficult playing 11's.
I will keep cracking random jokes throughout this, which are without context. But you said someone saw you fielding and they said that you were diving well, and that's why they wanted you to be a keeper.
Yes.
Then there are the other class of people. You dive well, you should be a striker, go into the penalty box.
Okay. That is quite interesting, yes. Yeah. Coming to topic. I'm going way off. let's just focus on what is.
No, it's a tribute to our team, so you have to tell your experience.
Okay.
If possible, maybe we'll have another episode with someone from the team in there.
Okay, so
usually it would be Vinay or Jaswin, but both of them are proper doctors now, and
yes,
they're doing their internship
they are
and
doing
stuff.
internships, so we can't ask them to come. So they are half the time they'll be in duty only. So yeah, what happened was when I went to play 11s and I was doing practice, like I was doing diving, I was saving, and catching also was okay. But then since the ground was a lot bigger, I had to kick I'm not used to kicking the ball that much, so I found it difficult. And one of the defenders used to take the goal keep, and even the half volley, the drop kick also, that also was not clearing much. So I had to work a lot on that. It was very bad. Still a little bit I struggle with that, but still, yeah. But then a lot of seniors were there at that time. I think whoever was there used to help me a lot. Like I used to, even after we start playing, we'll have light in a small portion of the ground, so one post will be clear. So that time I used to just take shots, do some like basic drills, mostly catching and things like that. But what do you say? Like my luck is not usually that good most of the time. So basically we had like one day to go, last day of practice, and I thought, okay, I'll stay extra, I'll do some catching, something like that. Okay, one person took a shot and I misjudged it a little bit. I thought it would come directly towards my chest. I was going to catch it, but then it went a little down. Since it was struck with a little more power, it actually went and hit the tip of my finger. Like my finger flat, it went and hit full power shot.
Oh yes, I remember your first day. You used to walk around with a cast on your hand.
Yes, and yeah, so I ignored it. Okay, I kept playing because I am a stupid fellow. And
I second that. General body member seconds that.
I kept playing, and what happened was once I removed the gloves, my finger, unfortunately it was my middle finger. It looked twice as big and it was swollen and I couldn't move it. At that time it was paining like shit. And yeah, I did broke my finger one day before a tournament. Yes. And sadly because of that, the team didn't have a keeper because I was the only keeper who went for practice.
Damn.
Yes. And unfortunately because of that, they had to bring a guy who played basketball for keeping. He did go, yes. And I was actually very destroyed, moral went down. I was like, what the hell. Then it's okay, I recovered by that. I couldn't play for another maybe 2 months because of that, because the fracture had to heal. And yeah, they went for the tournament, but that was I don't know, according to what I've heard from people, it was quite little disappointing because they got knocked out in the second or third game. Maybe it was the quarterfinals or something.
It's a testament to how well they did, because going without a keeper and still reaching the quarterfinals is quite an achievement in my opinion.
Yes. Yeah, so I was like determined. Okay, so we have other than the college tournaments, we have this intra-college inside. Like we have different associations for different groups of students. So we have at a tournament like that. So it was basically the medical students have a separate association. Us, the occupational and physiotherapy students have a separate association. And the other AHS students, like there are like 17 courses. I can't name all of them right now. So there are 17 courses. They're called ASHA, and they had an association. And the College of Nursing students, they also have. So we have this inter-association tournament. So usually we do not perform very well, our association, because we have a total strength of 100, which is like 1 in 10th of compared to other associations.
To put this into context, the year before Jithu and his batch showed up and we had like a half decent team, we lost to the medical students, I think 7-0 or something, and they only stopped because other people came and told them, brothers, calm down, you have proved your point. That was the only reason. It was only 7-0. And I'm not saying we are a bad team, but we just don't have how should I say this? it was difficult to get 11 guys to come to have a team.
Yes.
11 guys to come. I had to call so many people and 3 of them just randomly showed up. And we had to tell them before the game started, because the year before that someone handled the ball when the ball came towards them and it was an unnecessary penalty. So we had to tell them specifically, this is football, you don't touch the ball with your hand and you just stand there. So I'm not how should I say this? I'm not defending how bad we were or whatever, because we don't go for practice. We were interested in other things. We pulled people who didn't like football, but we just wanted people to just show up. So
just put up a starting 11.
Yes, just 11 people. And one year we actually played with just 10 people because we didn't have 11 guys to come and play the game. And one year we actually asked them if we can get girls to come in, and they said okay, and then we didn't even have girls coming to play. So we actually played with just 10 people. So the year Jithu came, continue with the story, sir.
Yeah, so at that time, I mean, I had a point to prove at that time, maybe. I mean, it was a comeback for my side because I was off for a long time. So I was supposed to take my cast off a bit after the tournament, but then I removed it like 2-3 days before itself. So my finger was like, it was like my middle finger will sore out. I cannot bend my middle finger. The muscles got that tight. But then I did basic drills without using my hands, and hopefully I'll be good with my hands that day. And yeah, even on that day I was only able to slightly bend my middle finger. I can't visually show you right now, but yeah, it was quite bad. So I removed the cast. We started doing some practice. We formed a team, and luckily at that year, I think my batch, there were at least 3-4 people who could play football. Out of that, I think we had arguably one of the best defenders CMC has ever had. Okay,
it's debatable. Valam is really good, but
yes,
we had very good people before that. We had Joe, we had Horman, and I don't know who all we had. These are the 2 people I have seen who are very good. Rahul Phillips is really good.
That's it. I'm not sure about maybe that's up to that is personal opinion. But one thing, I've never seen a left back like that in my whole this thing.
I second that, sir. I have not either.
Yes. So if you don't know, for context, Valam, I'm not sure exactly if it is true or not. Valam, if you don't know, there is something called Subrato Cup. It's like a national level school tournament. So Valam was part of that tournament. So that is if you go at under 15 level or something, that is the peak level. After that is when you start representing states or in your state teams in under 17 level. So he was quite good. Yeah, but then we still had to form a team. But we still had some people who know at least the basics of football, how to kick a ball, how to pass a ball. They
at least knew that football, you don't use your hands unless you're the goalkeeper. So that was quite an improvement. Yeah,
so we went into the game. We had only one job. Do not concede. Take it to penalties, inshallah.
That's all. That year, see, technically, for context, me and Jithu are from the same association. And how should I say this? I was the senior most player in the team. I was in my 3rd year or something. I think I just started final year that time. And they were like, okay, you have to take the calls of who all are supposed to be in the team. And there used to be another guy called Amal, who is 1 year senior to Jithu, I think. And he was also on the CMC team. So both of us were sitting all night and having tactics. He was actually making lineups and stuff. I am like, sir, we do not have enough people for tactics. We don't even know if 11 people are going to show up. So our game is make sure when the ball crosses half, everyone is where the ball is, so the ball doesn't cross them. Put 4 people. And even in that year when we had 11 people to play, there were at least 4 people from our side who played without shoes, because we called them up at the last minute and they came in their sandals and they couldn't run in their sandals, so they took off their sandals and played barefoot against people wearing studs.
Yes.
And the referee told us before the game started that if you're playing without any shoes or whatever, if someone steps on your feet and you get hurt, you get injured or whatever, we are not responsible. And by God's immense grace, these guys had so much guts, they were like, we don't care, we're going to play.
That's I think there was there was a confidence at that time. I think people okay, this time we are not going to get thrashed, we are going to give them a tough show. So that year we faced so it is like directly like we go into a semi-final sort of thing, since there are only 4 like association, and most of the time the nursing association doesn't send a team. So there are basically 3. One team which won previous year will actually get direct. If you don't know, if you've seen the Club World Cup wala format, you will understand that a little bit. So the previous year's winners was the Students Association, which is the Medical Students Association. So they were already in the final. So we had to play the other, like the Asha. So if we compare that to our team at that moment, I don't know how it's comparing. It's like, let's say you're comparing India to top 10 ranked nation, let's say Germany or any of the other top teams, you know. It was that was the difference in skill, and that was the gap. I mean, we had some good players, but yeah, all of them, more than half of their team plays for CMC, and others are like in the reserve team also. So they were quite good. Only place they didn't have I think one person was probably keeper, I think so. So we just went in, okay, we are going to do this, concede less, go to penalties, and we just went there. And luckily, whatever we did worked out.
Worked flawlessly.
Flawlessly, yes. We disrupted their whole gameplay. They got frustrated. They couldn't. They'll come like 100 shots. We'll be clearing everywhere. We just don't care. If it's in the box, we'll be hitting it outside. And we even got one chance to score also, but then we couldn't materialize that.
We didn't have attackers who would go up and finish, because everyone was in our own half trying to stop the ball. So people completely forgot that, okay, we are supposed to score a goal also to win. So when the ball actually did go up, there was no one there to run with the ball, at least to take a shot.
Yeah. So we had like one vague shot, like somewhere around half line, somebody shot or something, it just rolled to the keeper. I think that was the only shot we had. So we were going to pull it off. And last minute, or I think last 5 minutes or something, they gave a penalty which was contestable. Okay, so we were like, oh shit. Okay, at that moment I was keeper, I don't know. One thing came in my mind, okay, if I save this, we can do something which has not been done before. We can actually take them to penalties, let's see.
And not done before, he doesn't mean that ops has traditionally been bad.
Yeah.
But at least not done in the last, 5-10 years before, at least easily.
So, yeah, it was a lot of pressure, especially because I was coming after injury. My fitness was very bad. I gained a lot of weight. It was very bad. So, yeah, I'm like, okay, fine. So just before, I think, coming to this thing, one of my school friends, so he was also a keeper. So I was talking to him about we might go to penalties. So give me some tips or something to do something. So he told me this thing, whenever a kicker takes, before taking, they'll sometimes try to fool you. So what they do is they'll look into one side. Okay, even before kicking also they'll look into one side, and suddenly they change and they'll kick it to the side which they want to kick. So what they're trying to do is trying to wrong foot the keeper. So watch out for that. So that was in my mind. I'm like, okay, this guy is coming to take. If you don't know who this was actually the AHS captain at that time.
Oh yes, and he was also CMC's mainstay in the defense. Heart of the defense.
Yeah.
Heart of the
midfield, yes.
Yeah.
Shout out to Joel. Okay. Yeah, so he turned there and suddenly he turned. So I didn't commit that. So I'm like, wherever he's looking in the last moment, I'm going that side. I pushed with whatever I can. I push my body through the right side, like my right side, and I somehow blocked it. And even after I blocked it, it was actually bouncing, and I was scared that it will go inside after it bounced, because I couldn't put much force in. But thankfully, it went to the side. And somebody cleared it, it went for corner.
I remember who cleared it up with Gulati.
So everybody was very hyped, okay, we are going to do this, we are going to take them to penalties or like that. It was very good, suddenly people got energy. And but then unfortunately, during the dying moments, I think, there was this guy called Bun. So he's a attacking midfielder. So he usually takes shots from obscure angles. Randomly, he'll curl the ball. So he did one of that things. it went looped above all of us, and unfortunately I was not able to stretch enough to touch the ball. It touched my finger and went into the top corner. And there was no time for, I'm not saying we would have come back or something, there was legit no time. It legit happened in the last like 30 seconds before the game was going to finish.
And the light was also going to fade out. So,
yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that did hurt us, but then that actually motivated most of us to play. Even from our side, we're like, okay, next time when we are coming, we'll actually take our juniors to play football. We can actually form a team later on. Instead, like, whoever was our juniors, mostly from our side, like, it's been very rarely people go for football. We had a lot of like individual sport, maybe athletics or
shot put, people who play
badminton,
badminton,
basketball. But football, not many. Like, you can't like single out a lot of people like in throughout history. Maybe I'm not as far as I've heard. I don't know before also. So yeah. So then what happened was I think it happened to all of us. COVID-19 happened.
And I don't think we've had another inter-association.
No, till now it hasn't happened. That, yes. So yeah. In context, it's been 4 years. It's been 4 years since the last time it happened. This is going to be 2023 is going to end. Yeah. So COVID happened and everything stopped. Everybody went home. Our whole lifestyle changed for a long time. People who were used to going outside started staying inside their house. It was very difficult. And once we came out of COVID also, everything was a mess. The whole campus events, everything was a complete mess. Juniors joined late, so exams were happening. So there was no football for a long time. There was no practice happening, nothing.
There was nothing happening in campus in general.
It was dull, bad. We couldn't even go for practice. So I think the next time we had practice was in 2021, September or October something. So that is when we came back after the second wave. Not sure if it was October, after the second wave of COVID, maybe towards the end of 2021. So that's when then we slowly started having events. Later we had started having practices. So that's when we got invited for Manipal. So if you know Manipal, it's in Karnataka. It's quite far from our college. It takes approximately 15 hours to reach. So usually we never send their teams. So
I think this episode has to be in two parts. This is Jithu's recollection of his journey. We will come back to the proper CMC tribute, this thing of at least Pegasus for now.
Okay,
so we'll continue with Jithu's story and then we'll have another episode maybe just to talk about this particular tournament. Yeah.
Okay. So, So for Manipal, we started having practices. So when I came that time, I think there wasn't even 10 people. And I couldn't realize half of the people, a lot of people I know, even the people who were still available also, they were busy due to maybe clerkship. And they were not able to play. So lot of freshers. I couldn't know if you compare that team to one which we had before COVID, I had zero hopes. At that time. I think Alan was the captain at that time. So they were just okay for trying to form a team, and it was mainly for maybe to get experience. And also we couldn't play, like AHS were not allowed, only 2 people were allowed at that time, so not all of us could go. So they sent a very young team, very young team with very few seniors. So they're like, okay, get experience and come. But then they were able to find some very good talents at that time, mainly Stains. Okay, that is like right now, like he is our best attacker right now. Attacker come midfielder. If you don't
shade on anyone else, we're not trying to say other people are not good.
Good, yeah.
But yeah.
So the main thing is that fellow, I don't know, it's not like he not generally stays in attack. He comes down, he goes up, he distributes the ball, he carries the ball. He does, like, he was an all-round player. But he was in his beginning, he was a little withdrawn, or he was not. Right now, I think he's one of the like best players in right now. At that time, he was just starting. He just came from school, didn't know people. So
that's not to say that he was not good that time. He was still very good that time also, but he's just a lot better now. He's much more polished.
Yeah, I mean, you'll understand, like when you step from school level to college level, sometimes it's a little difficult. But then you adjust. If you're like all good players, they'll just take a time to adjust. So that was his first this thing. I think from AHS side, Bunn and Staines only went, because I think midfield was the weakest part of that team. And keeper was the current A-team keeper, which was Jenis. He was first year, I think, that time. He just joined. That was the first time I met him also. So I remember we were training with each other. I was helping him out and stuff. And it was I don't know, maybe Safin, Sargu, some names I'm telling which I know, and a lot of juniors were there. And obviously Alan also went. So they went there. I think they finished dead last in the group or something. They had like 2 draws and 1 loss. So they got kicked out in the group itself. It was like a tournament to maybe say, according to some people, maybe it was a tournament to not remember. Unless you take the individual help it took, the experience it gave you, it was a bad tournament considering CMC's football team's reputation. So yeah, after that we came back. A lot of these medics came from clerkship, Jeswin, Vinay, all these people came back. And we're like, next tournament is Spandan. So Spandan, if you don't know, is the tournament conducted by Jibmar Pondicherry. And almost every year we participate in that tournament. It's a tournament which we value a lot in winning. I think after Pegasus, I think it is a tournament we like strive a lot to win. And at that time, yeah, we didn't have much hope, but then we decided we are going to practice properly at least 2 months before. So the moment they came back, we had proper practice, like 2 months. I won't say like 20-25 people used to come, but then we had people coming, at least 15-16 people coming every day. It was good. I think that was the time in which all these people, I think we started bonding with each other, knowing better about each other, how weaknesses, strengths of each other. Even when the weather was unkind, even when we didn't have lights, sometimes we just played for like 15 minutes or half an hour. We just did drills or something. We still made it through. We still consistently come. I remember we used to have morning practices at some point. Morning practice legit, so that we can have like more daylight to play. Because evening sometimes people will come at 6 o'clock. So then we'll only be able to play at half an hour or something. So it was there. I could see the interest in people. Then a lot of young players came up. Mainly from 2020 batch and some players from 2021 also. So we had this core team that was forming, and fortunately, thanks to God and also all my teammates, I was part of that team. Although I was not starting at that time because my fitness was very bad at that time, and I had a little problem in catching, like my distribution was a little affected. So Jenis was starting at that time. And we went with this team. So our aim, I think, was just make it to the knockouts, because previous tournament didn't go well. This is the new fresh batch. I'll tell you in context. When I came, the mainstays of the team right now were actually juniors. When the last time CMC won a tournament, or like a proper tournament, which was, I forgot to tell you, was GVMC. Yeah, so our goal was like just reach the knockout stages, somehow produce a good performance and build upon that later. But we took it step by step, but we just kept winning. In the group stage also, we were quietly authoritatively winning, each say by 4 goals, 5 goals and all. And the team started gelling together. Then round by round we went, we cleared the group, we reached the quarterfinals, we won quarterfinals. And in semis, we had, I think, the toughest challenge so far. We faced the host, which was Jibmar. So at that moment, I'd say their team was a little bit more experienced, maybe because they had a lot of senior players. And also the fact that if you know, beating the home team in their own tournament is difficult, if you know what I understand. Due to the conditions and also due to certain other factors, mainly if you say the referee and stuff like that. So
home support, sir. We just say home support.
Yeah, home support. So I'm not telling this thing. So it was quite difficult. So usually in that tournament, we play half of 25 minutes. But in that particular game, we played half of 40 minutes at least each. So we actually played one whole football game. And this was after, I think maybe we had a game that just before that also. Like the day before that also, we had a very quite good game. So what happened was the game was quite tight. So they were defending well, we were also defending well. There was not many shots taken as such. They had a very good player which we had to mark the shit out of. And I think the one great shot that they took was when we left that guy for like 2 seconds. He took a shot from halfway line. It moved in the air like some sort of knuckleball. That sort of movement, and hit the post. And all of us like hearts in our mouth. And luckily it didn't go inside, hit the post and came back. If you don't know, the Jipmer grounds posts are like thick. It is at least 3 times the size of our post in like CMC ground. So yeah, then when the game was about to die for the second half, like it was almost like 35 minutes on the clock. We were like, why is there not time ending or something? At that time, I think the captain, was Alan. Alan, out of nowhere, he started driving the ball up. And fortunately, all the defenders of the other team started marking people. So he had a clear path of the, clear view of the post. So there was nobody challenging him. We chumma told, all of us were shouting from the bench, take shot. So he took one shot. I don't know how you say. If you heard Vincent Company's sort of thing happened. So it was out of it was way behind the box. He took one shot, boom, it went to the top corner.
My brother, he's giving you huge compliments. Vincent Company, it seems.
It was really we didn't expect that. We all went mad, because playing in the semi-final itself was a big thing. Let alone we were at the brink of reaching. But then if you know, home advantage thing happened immediately after that. So it was in injury time, so it was about to finish. And very, I'd say, soft penalty. So one of our players was trying to tackle the ball. He fell down. So you know what happens when you fall down? Naturally, your arm will be extended. You'll try to cushion the fall by extending your arm. Unfortunately, while that fellow was falling down or getting up from that position, the ball came and hit his hand. He was using the hand to get up. Referee gave penalty. I mean, you can understand, home advantage. So we were like, oh shit, this will go to penalties. If you don't know, at that until that time, CMC had quite a bad history with penalties. So we did not want to take it to penalties. Even if we had good players, we used to play badly with penalties. Yeah, so they awarded a penalty last minute. So if they score it, it will go to penalties, and we don't know what happens in penalties. But very fortunately, our keeper somehow managed to save it, and all of us when the penalty was awarded, I remember the whole of Jipmer was there to watch the game. They started shouting. I remember a kid was coming and shouting at my face. He was legitimately opening his mouth and shouting at my face. I don't know what to say at that moment. And I just controlled myself there. The moment that save happened, and immediately after that, I think Rinkard or somebody came and cleared the ball so that rebound doesn't happen. All of us jumped out. We were about to jump onto the ground, and somebody told us, okay, they'll give you a card if you go out or something like that. Then we were like, okay, we are checking time, something. This game still went on for some 30-40 seconds after that. I think all of us they all fell down for some time because that game was extremely exhausting. I think more than winning the tournament, I think we were happy with that result, reaching the final itself. And I think that was one of the best teams I've ever played, especially because of the chemistry in that team. And we were also at that time, since we reached there, we had a hope of winning the tournament out. But then sadly during that game a lot of our good players got injured. Bun was injured, Joel was injured, a lot of people, injuries plagued the whole team. Staines was having very bad cramps. I think somehow we were able to, because the problem was the final. Initially, I think it was supposed to be kept next day or something, because those people wanted to finish it earlier, and because their team got out or something. I'm not saying specifically that, they kept the final on the same day, legit like 4 hours after our initial game. So this same people have to go with this much tired face. We had to go. So it was quite difficult, but then we did our best for some time. I think because of the injuries we couldn't keep up, and one of our players had to go back to college, like for certain like personal reasons maybe. So we couldn't execute our plan properly. Like we were doing well in defense, but we couldn't get like a proper attack. And also maybe to the fact that the team we faced was actually a semi-professional team. So if you don't know, that team, semi-professional team, means they compete in the local leagues of that particular state. It was a team from Kerala, I think Alleppey Medical College or something. So that team was very organized. So we knew like if we were to beat them, we have to be in the top of the game. But unfortunately, I think tired legs, like tiredness, I think took the team. And I think at that time our biggest weakness was set pieces. It still is to a certain extent.
To a large extent.
Yeah, we considered 2 set piece goals. One was a free kick and one was a corner. I think the keeper came out and I think he was not able to clear the ball properly. There was a guy right like near the far post, he headed inside. So I think that time we lost. Like I think we didn't have that drive to win the game. So after that game also all of us sit down. I think PhD was there, I think so. I think there was one staff slot, so he was able to play. So he was making us sit and lecturing us how horribly we played. Because given how much fight we showed until that point, that fight was not there. It was like what he said, I think was like we were happy with the final position. We didn't have that drive to win it. We were already like our satisfaction reached. So we were just playing for this thing. That's what the other team differed with us. They wanted to win. They forced us to commit a mistake and won. So I think that was like a huge learning curve for our team as such, in terms of their mentality. How strong you should be at certain situations. So we still kept this core team as the A team, and whoever was not unable to play was... we formed a small B team after that, and practice went on. The B team was actually formed very late, but yeah, practice went on for one more month because Pegasus was coming mainly. Like, okay, this is our home tournament. Last time we lost to the tournament to GVMC, so we have to win it back this time. So it was all going well. Tournament started. A team was doing well. They cruised all the way till the semi-final. B team, I think, from what I say, shout out to all the people in B team, mainly Joe Scotty, Anubhav, Sadrish, yeah, definitely. Sadrish was a huge reason we scored. Nixon, Godson, even PhD or Praveen. So individual wise we had some talent, but then we had not played with each other much. So that was a team that was roughly put together 1 week before tournament, and we only had like one friendly or something. So we were like, okay, we'll try our best. Let's reach how much as we can, not commit basic mistakes. So we had a rough group stage. We barely made it out of the group, like the best runners up or something, because we won one game and drew the next game, and out of which one was a very horrible draw against the GVMC, and I think we should have performed very well. And we were very fortunate to draw that game because we got a penalty in the last minute, if you know. So yeah, but then we slowly by each game we built it up properly, and I think the quarterfinal was like the best performance we put in that, like in terms of the B team. As far as A team was concerned, I think they didn't have that much challenge until semi-final. They were comfortably winning by 2 goals, 3 goals margin because their chemistry was very good. So B team, we had quarterfinals against Madras Medical College, and it was quite a very feisty affair. very physical, a lot of verbally abusing each other, a lot of things happened, fight, they're tackling each other. And yeah, so what happened was they scored 2 goals in the beginning because I think they were pressing very well, and we were succumbed to some defensive errors from the defense and also from my side, which led to those goals. So at halftime or something, we had a talk with the team. We were like, okay, this is do or die. If we win, we are just 2 steps away from winning the tournament. Either way, we give it our best. So I think some halftime talk we had, everybody got motivated. We somehow clawed our way back. We scored the equalizing goal right in the dying minutes, like around like 1 minute before the injury time was about to end. And we took it to penalties. So penalties, in the beginning, I was not that confident in the beginning. So there was talks, okay, someone else take the penalty or something. There was not another keeper, so one of our outfield players also would have taken. Jose told he might take, but then Nixon was telling he was going to take or something like that. Like Jose came and asked me, like, do you want to stand? Like, I am standing. Yes. Are you confident? Yes. So that moment I just went there. I stood there and like, okay, I have to save at least 2 shots. That was the only thing in my mind. I legit couldn't hear anything. People were shouting, clapping, something they were cheering. I couldn't hear most of the things. I just focused on that guy. And the same thing that I did last time, and also some tricks. I did move around a lot. If you don't know, I used this thing. I tried getting in the head of this thing. Fortunately, it worked. First one went like it was high and it was to the right side. I took 1 step and I just pushed enough to about reach the ball. I pushed it away. I didn't do much. I just punched my fist in the air and I just went back. I didn't even look at the R penalty I was taking. I was just okay. I just have to save 2. Second one came, that fellow scored. I think third one also. Third one was like at that time we were leading 3-0 or something like that. They only scored 1. So if I save this penalty and they scored 1 more, if I save this penalty, actually they'll win. Sorry, we will win. So I'm like, okay, one save. I did like, I think it was the same side. So it was actually a little more higher. So somehow I reached it. I think it was bounced. I stopped it. It bounced and it hit the post and then it went out. So I was looking down from down. I was looking up like, please don't go inside. Please don't go inside. It went outside and whole team started coming rushing there. It was some sort of mad fest there. Everybody started running because we didn't expect to reach that much. And yeah, so after that, I think we had a proper talk. Okay, we'll do the certain things. But unfortunately, certain things didn't work out in our semi-final. And we did lose to the team who eventually went and won the tournament. I think the difference at that point was clearly shown. The coordination between us was not at a good level, and also our defense was very inexperienced.
Isn't that a normal thing with the B team at this point? I have noticed it since 2016.
Yeah, at this time I think it is normal. From what I've heard earlier, like before maybe like 2016 or 17, at that time they used to select the B team 1 month prior itself and make them A team and B team play each other.
Yeah, they used to have a lot of friendlies back then. Even during my time, it was not that the B team was bad. Actually, they used to be inverse. The A team used to be the B team, the B team used to be the A team. I don't know why that was. Okay. And even if I know, I can't tell you why it was. But for whatever reason, but even back then, it used to be like a fair amount of time before, so they would have enough chemistry between the teams, which is not there anymore, sadly. I don't know, it's because of people not coming or people coming too late that they can't divide the teams properly, or what the reason is, but that is the sad reality.
Yeah, I'd say same thing. Like people, like we didn't have that much amount of people as we had before, I think old times before. So when we had like 20-25 people at that time, we used to split the team, but usually it's like 4 or 5 days before the tournament. So chemistry is obviously lacking. Even till now, even this recent we had a tournament, which I'll come to after this. This was the problem. So I think that clearly this thing off. I think all of us had like a very bad day, especially me. I had a very bad tournament. Like that game, not necessarily tournament, that particular game was very bad. So we're like, okay, at least A team is there at the time. That is a very good team. They're organized proper. So we all went in the afternoon, I think around 4 o'clock or 4:30 to watch that game. A team was playing GVMC. Yeah, they made it all the way till semi-finals. Yes. So.
Well, so did you. You also made it to the semis, but just unfortunately happened to lose against the eventual winners. So.
Yeah, I'm very thankful to all my teammates. I still a lot of them are not here right now. A lot of them left, but still whoever is here, thank you. Yeah, so A team was about to play GVMC. We were like, okay, pakka, they're gonna smash them. Everybody was very confident. I'm not telling the team as such. I'm telling whoever was watching. And the whole GVMC college also came to support them. I was genuinely surprised. At one point, actually, we were outnumbered by them at some point.
So usually we are, so no one comes to watch football.
Football, yeah.
I don't know how this year we had so many people. I think it's the floodlights. But
yeah. So, I think we actually scored first. We were comfortably holding the ball nice. We were scored this thing. What happened was GVMC's goal was to equalize the game, take it to penalties. That was I think they've had a clear goal. That is what we're doing. So after we scored the goal, I think one drawback was we were not keeping hold of the ball, slowing down the tempo. We were kept on pushing, pressing. So after somewhere in the line, they intercepted a ball. They came and scored a goal. So what happened was now we had like some 5 or 10 minutes left and we have to win the game. And also the haunting fact of losing to them earlier was, I think, starting to creep in everybody's head. This is like I'd say like in tournaments, I think they got the better of us in the recent years. So everyone was a little skeptical. I think maybe the players' head also it came. They managed to get into our heads, disrupt our gameplay. So we didn't have a plan B or something happened. I think we were not playing as if they were supposed to play, and it went to penalties. And unfortunately, as I told earlier, CMC A team is not that good with penalties.
So neither team is good with penalties, sir. I am not kidding. I've heard this so many times after they lose in penalties. It's okay, we'll go to their ground in their tournament and beat them. And every year the people sit and cry, and there's someone walking around telling them, okay, we'll go to their tournament and beat them.
Penalties, I don't know, like even the great players, good players, all of them will take like horrible shots and we lose the game.
It's the pressure, sir. Big game pressure.
Yeah. And the fact that they went to penalties, it is not because the keeper was actually, the keeper made one save also. We were actually level. But then sadly, the penalty takers, few of them didn't take good penalties. Some of them were like legit rolling onto the center. The guy who was keeping for GVMC was not even a keeper. He was their outfield player or something. One of the saves was like so slow. I don't know. It felt very bad. Yeah. I'm not discouraging any of these players, but then that penalty shootout was very bad. But then, we took at least some 2-3 very bad penalties, which was saved by the opposition keeper, and one of them actually skied out, I think so.
I should have said this earlier in the episode. At least Jithu plays in the team, so he can, I don't know, some aspect of his criticism is valid. Out of the 4 years I was eligible, 3 years my name was on the team sheet, and I was never good enough to play by God's immense grace, because I sucked big time. I would barely just make it so that my name would be on the sheet. But by God's immense grace, I never had to step on the field and play under so many watchful eyes and glares and stuff like that. So if I say something and you're offended, I'm really sorry. But I think Jithu has been a part of the team. He's played with all of these people before. So if he says something, I think he's earned saying that. I am just, how should I say these? I'm one of those TV pundits who are not good anymore, who just keep leveling criticism against people. So just consider me as such.
Yeah, like to be honest, like as he said, like the pressure, like you'll feel like it's very easy. The moment you step in on the field in a competitive game, whatever you did practice, everything will like go, like it'll vanish. You'll be blank.
I think I've told all my juniors this, that one morning I did show up for the warm-up before the game. They put my name in the starting 11, and then we were having these just rondos randomly just to warm up.
Yeah.
The ball came to me. I lifted my leg up to pass the ball, and the ball just rolled under my feet. I was so embarrassed. There were at least 40 different people who witnessed that. I did nothing. I didn't even lift up my head. I just went, I found a chair, I just sat down. the captain came up to me and asked, I think captain was Vinay or Raut only that time, and they were like, bro, what happened, bro? I'm like, bro, you saw what happened, I know what happened, it is not right. So it is really tough, and the game had not even started. It was just warm up before the game, and I had played for proper 3 weeks before that. I went every single day for practice, and I played. I'm not saying I was really good, but I was at least good enough that they considered putting me in the starting 11 for that one particular game.
Yeah.
And the warm up before that, the ball rolled under my feet. So that should tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah. So, coming on to that game, we lost in penalties. And you could see in the face of the players, like everybody was extremely sad, disappointed. I still remember Staines was sitting on the ground up there. He's not moving. He was just crying. We had to drag him up. A lot of people were sitting and crying. It was, I don't know. It was a sad scene to watch. Both, even for us, B team also, it was very bad because both the teams, there was a potential chance of both the teams reaching in the final and playing each other, which had happened before. I'm not saying it hasn't happened, but we wanted that to happen. So, but then none of the teams reached, and it feels very gutted when you see that an outside team is going to win the tournament, and that too one of those teams is your could have been your arch rival. Fortunately, that didn't happen. The GMC lost in the final, so
we can't call them our arch rivals, but this is like that city derby kind of a
derby
thing.
Sort of thing. Yes.
So that's where the passions run high, because this college is so close to us. It's like barely 3 or 4 kilometers away. If late night we want coffee, that's the only place we get it. That is in front of their college. So from our college, we have to go to their college and have coffee. That's how close our colleges are.
So after that, I think I don't know, it was a dull atmosphere, but then we had a place to salvage something out. So there was a futsal tournament. It's not considered that big, but then it's nonetheless a trophy to win. So it will actually boost the morale also. So we fielded 2 teams. I was part of the second team. In that same scenario also, both teams reached the semi-finals of the competition. It was quite well. I think I remember in our first game, we faced the winners of the football competition in the first round itself. And we are like, this time we are not losing.
Who were the winners that year?
I think it was some Somerville Medical College or something. It was a team from Trivandrum, Kerala, I think so.
Interesting.
Yeah.
To be fair, I've gone every single year since 2016. I've been there for every single football tournament that has been played in our pitch. But sometimes the memories get hazy. I'm an old man.
I think it's been a long time, so it will be difficult. Even me right now, even recalling these things is very difficult. I can't. I'm trying to be as accurate as possible. If there is any inaccuracy, whoever finds anything inaccurate, please forgive me. And you are always welcome to give in your suggestions if any incident.
Better you just come to my house. We are recording this in my bedroom. You just come and weigh in on what we're talking.
So futsal was happening. So B team we were playing. I think it was me, Rinkat, Eric, Nixon, Nevin, Neldo. But it was quite a decent, strong team. I think we had some people who are actually very good in futsal with close control, taking shots and all. So we had this team in the first game. We were like, we are not losing to these people. We are taking revenge for A team. At least that was in my mind. So during team talk also, and this is not like we're saying we were overconfident or something. We had something to prove. Okay, this is something we have left, and we have to at least reach the final, let alone at least win it. So we actually played very well. Added to the fact that I think that team brought their football trophy near the futsal court, and they were taking pictures in front of them. It was quite legit mocking us at that time. Sorry, my throat is gone. I think I've talked a lot. So
clearly, sir. And we have not even reached the main topic of Pegasus. This is the journey so far since 2019 that is being told from a first person point of view. So we were fired up. We put up a good performance. Whatever they are not knocking at us, we kept defending very well, saving a lot of shots from my side. And I think we scored 2 goals, and we didn't even concede. With clean sheet, we went to the next round.
After which comfortably we were beating teams, like relatively their teams were weaker than the first team we placed, until we reached the semi-final. And that semi-final was quite, let's say, unlucky, I'd say, because an unfortunate free deflection led to one of our goals, and one goal, I'd say it was a good goal. So we were down 2-1. We started putting intense pressure. Every single ball we put in kept hitting the post. Every single. Till the last moment, we were like, okay, we even some open chances, hitting the post. It was so frustrating to watch. And yeah, unfortunately, see, sometimes football is not fair. Like, even if you have a good team, even if you play well, you need to have a certain degree of luck within your side, and we didn't have that at that time. And not saying that we didn't make mistakes and all, but yeah, we should have at least scored 4 goals in that game, and we only scored 1. So we got knocked out. So again, same scenario happened. A team was playing next after that, and we're like, okay, not again. This time again, same thing. If we don't win anything, it will be very bad for the amount of effort that had been put in. So they played well. I think initially they were struggling a little bit. I think mainly because the morale of the team was quite down, because they just lost the semi-final. They were like very down, quite down. But then all of our teammates came who were the part of the beating. A lot of people came to support. We started cheering them up. They played. Suddenly they got a little energy. They started playing well, and I think they won the semi-final. And again, another like final away. So it's one more hurdle and you could win it. The final was quite close. I think initially we were trying difficult to score, but once we broke that deadlock, the game was under our control. And once we got a significant lead, I think they held on properly. And I think it's not a big deal. I'd say, like some people might say it's not a big deal, or like winning futsal. It's like a smaller tournament. Futsal doesn't translate directly to football, but in terms of the confidence boost that it gives, I'd say it was quite important, because I think that was like the boost that a lot of our like players, young players, and all of these people had to keep on playing. Okay, we will win something. So it boosted their confidence, and it further helped in future tournaments also. So yeah, after that, I think a lot of exams happened, a lot of other events came up. So we didn't have practice for a long time, and there was no tournaments for a long time until I think next year, 2000. So this happened, Pegasus. This was in 2022. So the next tournament we had was 2023. I think Ramchandra SRM tournament. So before that only, I think we had practices, but I remember it was very less. In between all those months, I remember at times there were only 5 people. It'll be like me, Jose Kutti, Vasan, Stains, maybe medic side. Sometimes Richa will come. My batch 2019, nobody was there because they had clerkship, so half the time they'll not be there. And 2021, very few people came after their first year. A lot of people didn't show up, other than Janice maybe. So practice was very less. Then this SRM notice came 1 month before, and then suddenly people started coming. You have to send a team, AHS team. So at least our juniors started showing up for practice. So we started getting that groove. Although most of us were out of shape, no touch for a long time, we managed to put up a team. And at that time, I think 22 batch was also there. 2022 batch was there. So there was another keeper other than me. His name is Daniel. So he was also, if I'd say right now, I think that he has a very high ceiling. I'm not pushing him up. That kid is quite good. I feel he is way better than me. He can reach much better heights than me. So yeah, so I was the starting keeper. I think not starting as we were rotating most of the games actually. So we played a couple of friendlies. It was okay. I'd not say it was good performance. We beat a local club team here. We lost to Ures College little bad 3-1, and we did beat GVMC quite badly. So it was good. We are going in, and unlike other tournaments, SRM is a straight knockout tournament. So if you lose, you're out. And if you don't know, I think physically it is one of the toughest tournaments to play. To the fact that we don't have, like, there are some good players in medical part which we cannot add to this team. So that part, some of these positions were a little bit weakened, so we had to improvise. Certain players had to step from midfield to defense. Certain players had to... I remember Sadie played right back that year. And Nixon he is a striker. He was playing centre back. So we had to fill in certain areas like that. Staines had to play up like sort of a false nine. Yeah, but we struggled in the initial game, I think, a little bit. We were struggling to find that rhythm. But once we started kicking in, I think we scored 2-3 goals. We won the first game. Second game we had, we actually scored 2 goals. I think we were about to win, but then we gave like a very soft free kick and I think another soft goal. I think defensive mistake. I think I don't remember exactly. Joskuti and Anubhav were the centre backs. So one was a set piece. I remember. I think what happened was the keeper didn't set the wall properly. So what you do if you don't know is when you're setting a wall. You set a wall to one side so that you do not have to look after that side. The wall will be completely covering that side of the post. So half the post is covered and you just have to take care of whichever half you are picking. So what happened was, instead of standing in the center of the half of the goal which you are supposed to cover, he was standing center of the goal post. So he couldn't see the ball actually clearly. And what happened was, they saw that the keeper was out of position. They put one chip ball. The keeper couldn't reach in time. They scored.
Who is there? Is it us or them?
The opposite team was there. I do not remember exactly which team it was, but they scored. And after that, they scored second goal. So it went to penalties. They were initially plans, okay, I'll sub in or something like that. But then you were not allowed, once full-time whistle is blown, you're not allowed to make substitution. So what happened was, I think Nixon went and took the penalties, I think so. He was able to save 2 penalties. Fortunately again, it was not like, if you say if we deserved for going through, yeah, we didn't deserve maybe for conceding goals like that. So we went to the next round and I think that was the first... initially I was not planning to start that game because I think Daniel was going to start. But then out of nowhere, Raut was the captain there for that particular tournament. He said, "You're starting." I was not informed. I was not ready for it. I was not prepared. Nothing. I was genuinely shocked because in the beginning I was thought they even wrote Daniel's name first and Raut came last minute and changed my name. Okay. So I'm not saying like it is my job to be mentally prepared every time before the game, but then if you are on the bench for a couple of times and you have the first game you are playing after a long time is the final of a tournament, the pressure is quite high. So we started a game. I was a little bit shaky in the bit. My kicks were not that strong enough. It was not clearing much. So I got my head into the game, but then I was a little nervous. So what happened was, we were playing quite well. Both the teams were equally matched. They were quite physical, so not much was going on. Some shots were coming in. I was saving. Most of it was rolling and coming. I was saving most of those. We were close to scoring, but then we couldn't score. So what happened was, I think one of their players, I still remember his name. His name was Elise. If you know, he's not from India. He's from Africa. I'm not naming the exact country because I don't know, but he's not from India. So he's a foreigner. So he's quite good. So he took a shot. I think he saw me offline or something. So he took a shot. So the ball came like floating. I saw the ball all the way. But my judgment was a little off. So I stopped just before the ball was bouncing. So the ball bounced right before I stopped, maybe 2-3 feet above me. Since it was coming with such amount of force, it bounced. It went over my head. Yeah, so I tried scrambling there, getting my hand up. I got a finger, but I couldn't get enough force to push it above the bar. It was a horrible mess. The ball and myself, both of us went inside the net. And I just saw a whole of my teammates looking at me. It was like, personally, I think that was like the lowest point I've reached in my like football career. And I didn't know. I at that point I felt like I couldn't continue. I was going to say that to sub me out, because already I was nervous and this happened. And yeah, then I kept on playing. Fortunately, I didn't make any silly mistakes after that. I somehow kept myself together. I managed to not concede another goal. I made some good, quite decent saves, and there was one moment in which I think we were all pressing for a winning goal, and so everybody was up. So they got a ball in counter position. So one fellow was coming. It was just me and him. So one-on-one, he had the whole post or something. Somehow I managed to close him down, and I made like I put my hand out wide and hit my hand. It hit the post and went out. So not saying, but then it was never enough to make up for the mistakes. See, I'd say, if you are any keepers out there, if you are listening to this thing, see, your position is not fair. Definitely, you'll make 100 good saves and you make one mistake, whether it was intentional or unintentional, whether I don't know, you won't be able to explain that to what your outfield players, because honestly I'm telling, like when you're looking from outside, it will look like very silly, very this thing, but then you will only know what is a mistake, but then nobody will be able to understand that. So it is very punishing. So I'm not saying I'm going too much deep dive into that thing.
I think we've already talked for more than an hour. Let's go.
Yes. So after that game, I think add on to that, I think I'm not blaming my teammates. They were all very sad, I think, because they gave their 100% in that game. Like, we were playing legit at 12 o'clock in this thing. It was hot. We were sitting since morning because final got delayed for some reason. They were making us sit there for a long time. It was hot. I'm telling you, this is Chennai hot. It's hot and humid, and we are playing in noon. So everybody was tired, and I don't know, maybe they were not intentional, because I felt like the whole team was like against me at that point. I felt surrounded it was a worse feeling. I wouldn't blame them also, because they also have emotions. I think it was quite a bad mistake. I can never explain or something. Even if I say, okay, I got blinded by the sun or I misjudged or something, that was a very silly goal to concede. So yeah, after that, I think final. Another final. The Trophy Drought kept going on again. So what happened was, next was the GVMC tournament. It was happening after a very long time. I think it hasn't happened since 2019 maybe. So what happened was, for my side, I think after that particular tournament, I was quite down, so I wouldn't go for practice much, and also with my final year project, all these things happened, so I was more occupied in there, other than I didn't go for practice much for a long time. Here and there I used to go chumma to play, not as practice. So they started preparing for GVMC tournament. I was not directly involved there, so I'm just going to keep this short because that tournament. So as far as I know, at that time, GVMC out of nowhere made a rule that AHS players are not allowed in the tournament. The problem was, we had a lot of key players in AHS position, namely Stains, Walam and all. So what happened was, in the end they told you can play 2 players, but then nobody went. So they fielded an all MBBS team with a lot of guys from 2023 batch. It was it was a different team. Not saying it was bad. They still had some decent players, mainly Vinay, Jaswin, all these guys were all there. And I don't know, I think they didn't have high expectation. They're like, we'll put a good show of ourselves in the tournament and probably win it. because I don't think GVMC is not like the hardest tournament in the whole thing, but it is also a challenge. So considering we lost a lot of players, so they went to the tournament. I didn't hear much. I was just here. Okay, they kept winning games. Then I heard GVMC got knocked out in the first round in their own tournament. So it was open for us to win. So again, when we reached the final of the tournament, everybody was excited. If you don't know that GVMC tournament happens in our ground, oval ground, and because they do not have a purpose built proper football ground, they only have a fives court in which they play. So final was there. It was us against MMC. If you don't know, I would have mentioned MMC earlier. CMC and MMC have quite a bit of a rough history, especially since the last Pegasus.
He means football-wise, no other.
Not other, yeah. So they had a quiet fight. We had a very bad fight with MMC or something. They had some issues or something with the referee or something like that, and they're like they're not going to come for the next Pegasus or something. It was a big fight or something like that. So leaving that, so they were this thing. So that tournament was a little bit about a little more bragging rights or something like that. Although this was not the team that knocked them out of Pegasus, but still CMC. So what happened was, I think as far as I know, there was a defensive mistake in the back line. We were leading or something. There was some defensive mistake, and we lost the game. I'm not sure if it was penalties. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure if it was penalties or it was this thing. Let's say regular time. But we did lose the game. It was very fine margins. Whether I think it was a mistake from the keeper part or the defense part regarding collecting the ball, like a long ball. Again, set piece or long ball, same thing. So again, continues. Trophy, no trophy, no trophy. At this moment, even people started thinking okay, wherever we play, we'll keep losing or something like that. So after that, I think the next tournament was Spandan. Okay, so Spandan at that time, we lost a lot of players because a lot of people from 2018 ages finished their courses. So they were ineligible to play. Route left. So there were a lot of holes in between and then. But then whoever was there, one thing I'd say about CMC is there are a lot of versatile people there. So we can make makeshift a centre back. A centre back can become a midfielder. A midfielder can drop back a centre back. A forward can become midfielder. So there was a lot of flexibility.
It's not only about versatility. I think it's more about the players' willingness that they just want to play so bad. They want to represent the college so bad. Their passion for the game is so much that they're willing to adjust. Because a lot of people might be like, no, this is my position. I'll play only here.
True.
But there are so many people who are always willing to adjust.
Yeah.
People are like, no, it's okay if I play this position also. It's okay if I play this position also. And they'll show up for practice and play that position and learn the ins and outs of it so they can play in that position. So that's something I really appreciate about our people.
Yeah.
So go on.
Yeah, so they started working very hard for the tournament. They know Spandan was not going to be easy because usually Spandan will have a lot of teams, close to 20-24 teams or something. So it is a big tournament. Jipmer actually invites teams from different states. So it's proper mini national tournament. So there will be at least teams from 4 or 5, 6 states. And but then they kept training. I think they had very good willpower or something. They managed to reach the semi-finals of the tournament. Again, I don't know much information about this tournament because I was not part of the tournament because, as I said, I didn't go for enough practices. Period. And and also there was a small problem in Spandan in which earlier they used to allow AHS courses, and that time they told whichever AHS courses we have in our college, if you have in your college, such students can represent. So it meant OT, PT, all these courses were then what I'll say, some medical records, all these courses were not, lot of at least 10 courses we had were not eligible for the tournament. Surprisingly, optometry was so we didn't have anybody from optometry. So But then I think they found some way to add Staines and Valam in the squad, so they played quite well in friendlies. They managed to, I think, beat Woories College or something, which was a very good achievement. If you don't know, Woories College is an arts college. Arts colleges tend to be much better than medical colleges in football terms, because they play much more games than us. More intense, more practice sessions also, yeah. So they went in the tournament. They win the initial stages. They reached the semi-finals, and quote unquote a very familiar opponent came. I think if any senior previous part of the football team, any old member of the football team, maybe 2014 batch, 15, 16, anybody older than will know about AFMC. So we haven't faced them in a long time. I've only heard stories during Spandan about AFMC in Spandan, about a certain final, some issues happened or something. So according to those stories, AFMC seemed like a very, very intimidating teams. If you don't know, AFMC is Armed Forces Medical College. So basically, other than studying for medicine, they have a strict schedule. They follow military protocols. They legit have to wake up 5 o'clock in the morning, run like 7 or 8 rounds, do drills in the morning. So they are in peak fitness, and they have endless stamina. They can legit outrun all of us easily. And also the fact that they are quite big, and they swear a lot. If from what I heard from my seniors, I think Vinay was telling, when he was a junior, they went for he was first year or second year or something. They went for I think he was first year. They went for Spandan, so they reached the final. CMC was quite good, so they reached the final. And what happened was, the AFMC team, before the match, they had a huddle. So what they did was, they formed a huddle. They started swearing at each other. I'd not like to say what they were swearing, but they were cussing at the moms, dads, each other, some random shit. In Hindi, AFMC.
It's been 2 hours, sir.
I know.
2 hours, sir.
I don't know how to cut. It's a lot of things inside. We'll probably release it in 2 parts, so that you guys will find it easier to listen, and you will actually listen here. So yeah, so what happened was, so they used to do this very intimidating, very physical, stamina wise also. So I think that got the better of them. It was a stalemate for a long time. I think last minute, I think the keeper, I think it was Manuel, and one of our defenders had some miscommunication. Both went for the ball, so some collision, something happened, and the ball went inside the net. This is purely from what I've heard. This is subject to criticism. Please put if you want to know exactly, you can ask certain people who are there. Coming to the current scenario, Spandan, again, AFMC, intimidating teams. They do like 3-4 laps, they run around this thing, their warm-ups are like intense, all these things. So, but then our team showed very good character. From what I've heard, from what certain people have told, who went for this current Spandan tournament, we actually played better than them, much better, to the point that after the game, I'll not say the result and what happened. After the game, the AFMC captain came and told, you guys were the better team. To our captain, you guys were the better team, and you deserve to win. So they never say that. Coming from a team like that harsh, getting that thing was like a big achievement. Yeah, coming to what happened there, again, defensive mistake. We scored first. Towards the end of the game, defensive mistake happened. Yeah, and we considered a goal. And yeah, at this point, I don't have to tell again, we lost in penalties. So this is like a common trend right now of CMC losing in penalties at this point. So yeah. But then everybody was very, very happy with their performance, because they put up a good fight, almost reached the final, could have won the whole tournament. So that momentum they carried in. They legit told like, okay, they're putting the same team that they had, so because they have very good chemistry. And yeah, that's I think pretty much the point I have to add about it. Yeah, please do subscribe to our channel, follow us on Instagram, and join our community. And if you have any suggestions, do leave it in the comment section, or message us in Instagram or Facebook.